everybody. Good morning, happy Monday, and welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, Anne, and disembodied voice, Justin or John. Somebody, I think they're both here, although Justin was AFK. So we have a disembodied voice somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh. And Kiri, and of course Kiri, who is not squeaky this morning. She is tired, and so am I. But how are you all today? It's like Monday came too soon. Freestyle, I appreciate the mercy wings. It's even better when it's a Kiri face with the mercy wings. They're both awesome. Yay! Tired. Yeah, tired. Yes, very, very sleepy. Kiri got me up a couple times last night, so it's like, ugh. It is what it is. It's Monday. We can be a little sleepy. We can get away with that. Boop. It's rock and roll. We're on our new schedule this week, guys. So I have a question. Since you guys are you guys are the first in here, you get to actually help me answer this. We're going to be working on the Greek statues later this week. I need to know, I'm going to paint one of them in stone and one of them in bronze. And it's going to be NMM bronze probably, because I want to do verdigris effects. So which one do you guys want me to start with? Do you want to see a stone one or do you want to see a bronze one? You guys are first on the stream, so you get to decide.
Let me start a poll.
Oh, okay, sure. Start a poll if you want to. I don't mind informal too, but that's cool. Poll's cool. All right. We're going to do some teeth and claws. Well, yeah, I mean, we're going to get to both guys, but I want to know which one to do first. Yeah, John will start a poll. Let us know when you got that poll up, John. And I'm mixing up some colors for claws. Using creamy ivory and rich leather today.
What were the options again?
Hmm?
What was the question and options again?
The question was, when Anne paints the Greek statues, would you like her to do the bronze one first or the stone one? Since we'll be working on both over the course of everything, but...
Has been started.
Yes, it's Troll. It's Troll because I decided I am going to finish him because he's going so well. So that means Troll gets into the regular rotation. So we will have a regular rotation now. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is, but if you follow our social media, John will tell you what's coming up.
I'm about to post it right now.
Ah. I'll show you guys my colors after we get that poll up. Oh, yeah. Okay, we have a poll up at the top of your chat screen. You should see it. We'll be starting the Greek statues on Wednesday. And one will be bronze, one will be stone. Please vote for which one you want me to do first. Because it's a toss-up for me. Yeah, I don't know. That may have gone too, maybe not green enough for these teeth. I may need to go a little bit greener. Where's my black indigo? There it is. You're multi-talented. Yeah, it's disembodied voice John, because Justin was AFK. So far, people are voting for bronze. So we'll keep the poll up. We'll keep the poll up. How long does it stay up?
This one is 5 minutes.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, you have 5 minutes, guys. 5 minutes.
I figured more people would be flooding into the stream, so wanted to
for
open
sure.
it a little bit.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's good. It's good to leave it a longer poll. That's great. I'm gonna get some black indigo up. So what I essentially did here, guys, is I'm like, okay, I need to do claws. So I grabbed my my creamy ivory and I grabbed my rich leather, which I thought would give me, kind of a nice brownish, tone to the teeth like we had up here. But it went too orange on me. So what I'm doing now is I've grabbed some black indigo, which if you remember is our shadow color on the troll. And we are going to make those colors totally not this warm. Because if I look at his teeth, it's kind of a greenish brown root. So black indigo has blue obviously in it. And I've got a yellowy color here. So if I'm adding a bluish color in, it should kind of make it neutral and gray, but it should also make it a little green. And you have to add very little. You notice I just picked up a little bit on the tip of my brush. And now it's much closer to the color that I'm seeing on the teeth. I think I still want a little bit more, though. Yes, early people get to influence the stream. Yep, that's right. Because they're usually my super fans, so super fans get to choose stuff. There we go. I think maybe a little bit more. I really don't want it to be orange. I don't want the root of his teeth to be orange. I'd rather have kind of a greenish color. So I'm just mixing a little bit, just little increments. Don't get impatient on this. When you've got a color that's really strong and really dark like black indigo and you're trying to use it to tune a color to go just, you know, less orangey or less out there, just go slowly. You don't want to go too far and just get a blue, which is totally what would happen if I put a brush full in there. I have the headphone plugged in, but I think something is up with my headphone jack, so it's probable, Dr. Bob, that the disembodied voice will sound like it's from the grave. Sadly, I'm not sure how to fix this other than with a new computer. Because the headphone is registering, like my computer pops up a little thing that says, hey, you plugged in a headphone, but then it doesn't seem to be actually redirecting my audio to the headphone. So, yes, there will be a very echoey John voice until... I am thinking I'm looking at a new computer for Christmas, however, so we shall see. That should solve the problem. Because this one is pretty I mean, it's a gaming system, so it's a laptop and it's, you know, 5 years old, so it could be just going kind of a little bit. Oh, neither Grapthar. Only water. MSP works great with just water. We add flow improver to the batches. So every Reaper paint already has flow improver. The only reason to add more flow improver is if you're doing really fine details. Sometimes I'll add some then. If I'm doing freehand or just really little stuff, it'll give me just that little bit of extra surface tension break. But I really don't need it. Like I don't, most of the time I just use water. My bottle looks fancy because it has an agitator in it, but that's just because it came with an agitator, so it is water. Yeah, and that's true even if you're using an airbrush, though some people will use like 10% isopropyl alcohol in it, and 90% water in their mix, but I don't think it's really necessary. It's just, you know, your preference at that point. Is that the resolution? Bronze 1? So bronze statue on Wednesday then. All right, cool. Cool. We'll do some cool verdigris, and I'm gonna do a really dark bronze, I think. And we'll see how that looks. All right, so my colors then. You guys can see how blue that indigo is if you look up at the top here. And then we've got it's a mixture actually of 3 drops of rich leather and 1 drop of creamy ivory. If I'm going light with teeth and claws, I always use creamy ivory. It is my go-to. McDuff, thanks for the Prime sub. 14 months, that's awesome. Thank you for staying with us for that long. And this is creamy ivory with just a little bit of rich leather in it. So if you want to warm it up, if you really want to warm it to a real ivory or old yellowed bone color, putting 1 drop of rich leather in it will take it that way. But I really wanted more of a dull... If I look at his teeth, I really went kind of dull with them. Here, let me get Guy in focus. Trolley, come. There we go. Hey, Inara, what's up? So I think I still, even given that, something in me feels like I still need a little bit. And it may actually come out once I start putting that shadow color at the roots of the nails. But I want to get these claws in today. And so we're using this. And Inara always asks me what colors I'm using, and she just showed up. So Inara, I'm using 4 drops rich leather and 1 drop creamy ivory. Creamy ivory is my go-to for all light colored claws, teeth, and horns. But I decided it was too orangey for Mr. Rock Troll, so I'm adding in little incremental bits of black indigo, and I mean little incremental bits, like tiny bit on my brush, mixing it in. Because I know that mixing the heavy load of blue in there with the load of orange that's in this color is going to take it more muted. I want his teeth and his claws to really look kind of suspect, so there we go. Oh, a Daffodweir, for another 14-monther. Dang. It's the attack of the 14-monthers. Thank you for the sub. At tier 2, too. Daffodil really likes us. We love those tier 2 subs. Those are juicy. I'm thinking in terms of food because I'm painting a rock troll. All right. So starting with a color, and let's assess it. Let's get this out of the way. So you want to start, if you're going light with nails, you want to start actually pretty dark if you want to really bring the highlight up and make them high contrast. If you paint the entire nail or claw light, it looks like just kind of boring and like a big, like you just, you know, put a big blob of paint on it. If you start darker, you have the chance to add some texture as you go up with your highlights. So I will always do a long stroke down the front of the nail or claw or, you know, whatever, however the striations go. Look at actual nail. If you look at your actual fingernail, see how it kind of, it goes out in streaks, right? It grows, you have actual texture streaks going out like that. This is the same thing for a dog's nails or any, you know, animal. So it's not a far cry to say that it also would apply to monsters like rock trolls. Hey, wow, and 19. So Dr. Bob has put you all to shame. Ah, good. There's a Krampus. Is it a new Krampus or is it like the is it the previous Krampus that we put out before? Ah,
It
I
is.
know David.
It is the new Bones
Ooh.
USA Krampus.
Oh, special, super special. Pardon me while I blow my nose, guys. Allergies are hideous here this morning. I don't like to sniffle at you. All right, so that's cool. Maybe I'll have to go check out that same sculpt as just Bones USA. Awesome. Predictions started. Oh, if you make the correct prediction. Uh-oh. What are we predicting? Oh, you're ridiculous. I don't mention him nearly as much now, John. We've been together for over, and you prompted it by doing that, so you know. That was a loaded thing. But gosh, we've been together now almost 2 years. Almost 2 years. Crap. Well, you know, you've been in long-term relationships. You know you start mentioning them a lot less after the 2-year mark.
That is true.
Yes.
I just trying to been doing. We got access to this prediction system. Only about 50% of channels got access to the beta for it.
Nice.
So I've just been testing it around.
So we're predicting, yeah. All right, so we should predict. What are good predictions? What's the next color? I'll think. I'll try to help on this. All right, so guys, what we're doing is, you can see what I'm doing is I created. There already were some artifacts on this claw. It already had kind of a little bit of a lump. You know, it had a little bit of a side bit that came in and joined it because his claws are pretty jagged. You can use that. Instead of assuming that it's a flaw, when you're trying to make something's claws look jagged, utilize it and break up the claw. And that makes it look a lot, you know, shadier. Or even with bones, it's even easy to take your knife and nick it if you want to. David he's got a big long work thing that's eating his soul right now. They spent all last week on it, and I think it ends after Tuesday. So he is camped out at the kitchen table where he can set up a lot more of an ergo-friendly desk and sunk in meetings, I think, all day. That is that's the downside of the real job. The upside of the real job being that, when 5 o'clock comes around, he can drop it. Whereas, 5 comes around, I'm still working. All right, so that claw, we can ask ourselves if it's dirty enough. Like, what I normally do is I set it up, I do my pattern, I get it there, and then I say, okay, does that look too clean for a rock troll? I did make his teeth pretty shiny white. So, I mean, pretty light, because I wanted them to show up. Like, the tips of his teeth are quite high. You guys are funny. But yeah, so now I would look at it and I'd be like, well, does this need to look dirtier? Or, do I want to reintroduce some more of this brown, And I may tune it, because the thing is, remember, when you're dealing with little tiny objects like these teeth, you can go up very bright very quickly and it looks fine. Whereas when you've got more room down here, you can show things like dirt and corrosion easier. So if I take some of this brown and I kind of paint it in there, I can make that nail now look more aged. See what I did? Painted the brown over the top of this cream, just the top part toward the middle. And then I can take my lightest color and hit just the outside. I'm still not anywhere near pure white. So, but that lets me bring up more contrast toward the end, but still make the nail look nice and dirty. Which with the rock troll, it probably would be. So there we go. So we keep the texture. Hey, Tashi, how's it going? Hey, Ash. The peeps are showing up. So that essentially lets me add in my texture, but still make it dirtier as I go so that I can, make him look like a really filthy rock troll. Although he's kind of shiny just because he has shiny gemstones, so... Maybe rock trolls are aquatic and like to take baths. I mean, there's bound to be water in caves, right? It's usually pretty pure, because aquifer. So maybe rock trolls have a penchant for baths and are just getting, short shrift from the adventuring community to give them a bad rap. Because this rock troll, with all those gemstones and stuff, I think he'd be pretty proud of those, so... It seems to me. See now again what I'm doing. I found... essentially little lumps and stuff on the nail, and I'm going to be utilizing that and picking out those details instead of assuming that they are flaws. So what it does is it gives the nail a more organic look, almost like it's a stalactite or growing from the ceiling, where it's got some definite texture and areas on it. It lets you give it a lot more of an interesting look. And honestly, if you've got a big blank claw with no texture on it at all, doing this sort of striation like you see on a fingernail, like I said before, there's, your own, if you look at your own nails, you'll see little lines, little grooves that it's growing out in. Doing this sort of line pattern on a big, like, draconic nail where there aren't many details and fading from a dark to a light on it is an easy way to make the nails more interesting. Because if you just paint them all light or all dark, they are just going to look really, really bland and not interesting at all. And the claws are actually important on a creature, right? It's its means of attack. So it equates to a weapon. So you do want to draw some attention when there are pronounced claws or claws that may be unusual. Like if you have a cat girl and she has little subtle claws, you probably would still pick those out because they're her secret weapon. Like, you don't notice them right away, but then you notice them. So think about it that way also. Now I'm going to go to my highlight color, and that's much lighter. Oh, let's see here. I'm going to actually throw some, because it is so, it's coming on so strong, I'm going to thin it a bit. Right now I'm probably at about, I usually go about a 2-to-1 paint to water, but I'm going to actually do this more water. I just threw in like 2 or 3 more drops, so it's probably a 1-to-1 now. Because there's so much white in creamy ivory, I can get away with that. And it will still be more than strong enough to give me the pattern I want on these nails. So yeah, you guys will see a lot more of Rock Troll. We'll actually finish his other arm. We'll finish his stuff around his base and his crystals down here. And we'll even do basing on him. I need to think about his basing, because maybe I want to do something fun. Because with bones, I could take, like, if I wanted to put a little pool of water in front of him, I mean, I could either use the base itself to do that by building up an edge and making a pool. Or I could, carve out part of it and make it a bank and make a pool that way. I probably want to put him on a bigger base if I'm going to do some scenic stuff. It's very tempting to carve some stalagmites, like do some stalagmite stuff. So we might do some fun basing on this guy. It could be a good time. This is a model with high basing potential, I would say. Because you could do some subterranean cave effects, and that could be super fun. So let's get back to her. Now that I've thinned out my... Inara, actually, tune into our social. See, this is a ploy to get you to tune into our social media every day to see what Anne is working on. John, how often or how far in advance are you telling people what the subject is? Is it the day before or is it the day of?
I'm trying to do one post I try to do it on Sundays, but it's normally Monday mornings, and I try to give all the content that's going to be happening for that week. And then each day I'll post the content for that day in the morning.
Okay, cool. So there you go, Inara. You can see the complete list. Was that be on Twitter and on our Discord, John? Where else is that?
Twitter, Facebook, Discord, forums,
Okay, cool.
everywhere, pretty much everywhere.
The complete social media suite. No matter where you tune into Reaper, you can see it. Awesome. Thank you. Silly. No question is silly here, Hudson. If you were to hand undercoat a Bones Mini Black, is it then safe to use a white rattle can paint over that? Yes, it should be, Hudson. It should not, once you have that coat of paint, because the paint puts a coat of essentially resins, plasticky resins over the whole model, you should then be able to use a spray. Just make sure that you're coating it, really solid, but then you should be fine. Hey, Paul John's Life, how's it going? Going out is a thing of the past here in California. Well, it's not quite. I mean, I'm going to groceries today. It's not like, though, with all of the restrictions and everything, it's not like I ever changed my behavior, so it really doesn't change. I guess we can't go out and eat outside anymore, but otherwise, this is just same old right now, as far as our restrictions out here in California. Except my gym closed, but that was a while ago. All right, so see how I'm making these look like, stalactites by accentuating the flaws in the nails. And sometimes when you get a Bones model like this, sometimes there will be some flaws, because often there'll be a mold line going around the outside, right? And it might leave an artifact if you're not real good about cleaning. But you could totally make the nails look really rough this way. Yeah, hermits still be hermits, right? And I tend to spend a lot of time inside. I mean, if it was nice out, I'd be walking outside a lot more. But other than that, I take Kiri outside and I go to the grocery store once a week. Like the big impact is just David and I not going to places like, museums and stuff, right? We'll just have to wait till it's safe to do that. All right, so I decided to put a glaze kind of my brown color over the whole thing, because again, I wanted it to be dirty. If at any point you lose your shadow at the root of the nail, take walnut or brown liner, or in this case I was using black indigo for shadows here, and reintroduce that. You want to make sure you have a line around your nail. So many new painters don't do this, and it tends to make everything look like a cartoon blob. Your nails, you want your nails to stand out. Again, they're a weapon, so they're important. So do make sure you leave a nice dark line at the root of your nails. If everything on the model is really pale, you could get away with kind of a medium colored line. But if you've got a darker model, plus if you're using a brown, you can make it look really dirty and dingy by putting that dark shadow at the root of the nail. But mostly, see how it helps the nail just stand out. That's why I base coat in walnut. But if you lose that, because sometimes when you're doing all this work to highlight, you do lose that. So you can come back in and just touch it up. Yeah, doctor appointments. Ugh, I'm glad I don't have any of those right now in our knock on handy wood object over to my right. I'm going to grab more of this brown. So again, we're working with mixtures of rich leather and creamy ivory, except I put a lot of this black indigo into this rich leather mix to make it more grayish brown. It was just too orange before. If you want dingy nails, do not go with bright colors. He is not wearing nail polish. So I'm only putting just these little dashes, and I'm not being very precise about where I place them. If I want to touch it up, then I will, but mostly I just want some interesting detail on these troll claws. And you can do a really quick job on these, or you can take your time like I am. There's little groups of detail all over the troll. Mostly the gemstones, are up here and there and there. So having a little bit of extra detail at the end of the arm is nice too. Now we'll take our highlight color. Yo, Twisted Oma, how's it going? I am sleepy today. So we are painting fingernails on rock trolls. Oh my. But yeah, we have a bunch of new models we're starting this week, guys. So if you go to the social medias of any sort, you will see the list of content for this week. And I will be on there, and the content will note what model I'm working on. Tomorrow we're starting, for example, a brand new model, which I'm kind of excited about, because we just put out a bunch of them. And what, the last bones were the cat folk, I think? I just noticed I have a little piece of flash on the tip of this troll claw, so now I can stop, and I'm going to just try to take it off. It's really not a big deal to do this after the fact on bones, because obviously I'm painting directly over the plastic, so I'm not going to take off any primer or anything when I stop to clip off the little hanging bit on this nail. I'll just have to touch it up with regular paint, and that's just fine. There. Only takes a little bit of work. There, now we got our hanging claws. He no longer has a hangnail. Hello. Yeah, I mean, people overlook little bits, like they think about this as kind of an afterthought, right, PM? So, but I've always been of the opinion that people paint teeth and claws way too boring, so I've always tried to do mine a little bit more interestingly. Because they do have features. I would rather you go to social media for it, Kaz. Since John did I don't have it like right in front of me. So I submitted it to John and Justin and Collins so they could make sure to publicize it. You should be able to see it on any of Reaper's social media. It should have been posted, John said, Sunday or today. He says it most often gets done today.
I'm getting it set up right now.
Oh, are you? Okay, so you're not quite ready yet.
Well, tomorrow's model, I can tell you right now, is 44118 Shadow Eyes Catfolk Rogue.
Yeah, we're going to do a cat. So then we're going to have another poll, because we have to decide what cat pattern or cat breed we want to paint our cat rogue with. Because we could do all sorts of things on that. Cats are so much fun. We could do spots or stripes or Siamese. Is this social media? I think this is content. I don't know. I guess all social media is content, right? But if I say it on here, it's a lot harder for people to pick it up. But yes, what John said, right? Catfolk Rogue tomorrow. Shadow Eyes. Sculpted by the amazing Julie Guthrie. Yeah, no freeze, Dilbert. Sorry, this show doesn't have free except for free knowledge. Although we do build up to AMA giveaways. And I think Justin said we were in the 50s.
Actually, I did a count, by the way.
Oh, what is it?
We were at 44.
Oh, so I was close. All right, so we have 44, and we need to get to 100 to do another big giveaway. Sweet. And does that include today's resubs, Justin? Because we got like 4 already.
Does not.
So okay, so we're at 48. I think I counted right. We'll look at, when considering what pattern to paint, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow, guys, but when considering what pattern to paint on, say, a cat person, what you really want to look at partially is how much area you can see on the figure that's fur. Because some patterns really do require a lot of fur showing to pull off, whereas if a character is wearing a lot of clothing, then it's a lot harder to do anything that doesn't just involve the face. So I don't remember how much fur Shadow Eyes has on him or her. I will take a look at it tomorrow. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Hey, Tashi, thank you. Thank you for the gifted sub. To Cranston, even. Fantastic. Thank you much. You also want to look at, the other thing you want to look at when painting a cat person or cat of any sort in miniature is you want to look at how hard it is to make the pattern read. And that's going to be determined somewhat by your fur texture, like how much texture is on the model. It's much easier, contrary to popular belief, but it is much easier to do a pattern on a model that has not been sculpted with a lot of fur texture. The minute you put a ton of fur texture on it, the minute it gets much harder to do things like stripes and spots. So we'll also take that into consideration when choosing a pattern, because I know that there is fur texture on that model. I just don't remember how much there is, how coarse it is. If it's very coarse, it'll be very hard to do very subtle patterns. So all of these things are things you're going to take into account, guys, when you're doing something like a cat person or a dog person or whatever. You know, when you're thinking about doing patterns, the model itself will dictate what will look better on it. With a model where it's not like the Sphinx, where she's sculpted mostly smooth and just her longest fur is actually textured, she's the best. Because since she's smooth, you can do spots and stripes on her so easily, and you can do really small ones if you wanted. But stuff with a big chunky texture is really difficult. Yeah, that's cool, Kariniko. Tribute minis are always cool. Fingers, when they're sculpted together like that one. Oh, I still do a dark line. I just haven't done it this time, Dr. Bob. If you want it less harsh, just thin the paint a little bit. So, like, instead of using my straight up black indigo, maybe I'd thin it down to about here. You can see how it falls off the side of my palette, so you know it's going to be somewhat see-through, but you still need it dark enough to put a shadow. So, let's just do that. All right, so let's grab that. And the nice thing about starting with a thinner paint for lining is that you can build it up. If it's too thin, you don't have to worry. So I'll start up here, and I'll bring it down between the fingers. At this point, you're less lining and more just painting and shading. Though I personally find, especially, I'll tell you this, Dr. Bob, with a small miniature, with like a little figure, like a 28, I will absolutely do a dark line. Even if you find it's strong. Because it's when you're dealing with a very small model, it's hard for something this subtle to actually work. All right, so I darkened it just a little bit. I introduced a little bit more black indigo. Also, keep in mind the thinner the line, the less obvious and the less harsh it will be. So like that. So you see, if you don't use a full strength paint, it'll give you a more subtle line that's more like shading. And that's it. Thanks, Gia. Yeah, his top of his head is the best. We spent some time on crystals, I think the last time we painted him, just getting these guys all to work. And then we did the arm in a different stream. We still have one more arm to do with crystals, and we've also got the crystals under his knees. We just aren't to that point yet. We've actually got quite a bit to work on with Mr. Rocktroll. I'm doing fingernails today. But yeah, so Dr. Bob, it's just a matter of thinning down your dark paint a little bit and finding the solution. Sometimes, especially when you're working with lighter models, like I said, really light skin tones or models that have very light colors on them in general, you are going to want to thin down or use a darker color for lining, a lighter color for lining. Like if I was doing a really pale skinned person with really, really pale blonde hair, I would probably not use, say, walnut or brown liner. I would use something like shield brown, maybe, or maybe russet thinned down. I wouldn't use, if I did use brown liner, which I am still prone to do on smaller models, I would thin it. Because that's the great thing about the liners, is that if you thin them just a little, they get a lot more translucent, so you can avoid putting down a super harsh line. You just want to use the liners full strength when you're looking for something more cartoony, more of a stronger line. They're made to be tuned, the liners are. But whenever you want a more subtle effect in miniature painting, the answer is thin your paint. All right, I'm losing some of my lines up against my roots of my fingernails, so I'm going to grab some of my black indigo and work on that. Then I'm going to put some highlights at the very tips of the nails. And we'll move on to the feet and other hand. Get all these details done today. Another thing to mark off my to-do list of this figure. And we do have to do kind of the interior. Now, on the underside of nails, which are typically darker or in shadow, and this hand is not a, no exception there, although the thumb will come out with a few highlights when we get back here. I'll stick to my darkest color, my medium brown. And I'll only bring up highlights if that part of the hand is actually in the light. It's like this long nail down here. It's really going to be in shadow. It's not going to come out very much, so I won't bring out too much on it. Just enough. You want to do something because you want it to be evident that you did paint the area, but you don't necessarily want to bring it up as much as you bring up other parts of the model. Not if it's in shadow or on the underside of something. So that's enough probably for there right now. I'll see how it looks down the road. I may bring it up a little bit more. Alrighty, let's do some feet. But yeah, we'll see with the cat. We'll see. We'll look at him or her tomorrow. I forgot to check if it was a him or her. And we'll determine what patterns, talk about what patterns would work best on it based on the fur texture and how much fur is showing. And then we will choose one and we will roll with it. Now, even the toenails have kind of striations on them, which is perfect. Some of these are a little smoother, but we're going to paint those bits on them anyway, just to be consistent. I'm just pre-lining a little bit to make these little Oh, thank you for the resub at tier 2, the juicy tier 2 resub planer. We love you too. Alrighty. Yeah, it's definitely a Monday. So I know I've been focusing on my holiday baking too much, guys, because last night I dreamt I was on Bake Off, the Great British Baking Show. And Paul Hollywood was complaining that I was never getting things done on time. So
me and Sarah just started the most recent season that just came out.
Oh, good. Yeah, we were watching it as it came out. I was happy because the person I was rooting for won, but that's the most I'll say.
We also started the American holiday version. There's the Great American Bake Off holiday.
Oh, really?
Edition. Yeah.
Oh, totally. I will tell David we need something new to watch. We've been watching past seasons of Mythbusters and catching up on, because both of us, we like Mythbusters, so we've been just doing that, streaming that. But yeah, Great American Baking Show, you said?
Yeah, it's by the same producers and it's in the same tent. So they fly a bunch of Americans out to the tent. So
awesome. So my dream was not that far off. I too could apply to be in the Great American Baking Show. Oh, now we have to watch it. That's awesome. Is it on Netflix, John?
I believe so, or Hulu. I can't remember.
We've got both. That's good. Super. I'll tell David. He'll be super psyched. We love that show.
Yeah, me and Sarah love it too. I love it.
The season started and ended already, Muses, and they did it. They did it in an awesome way. They just everybody quarantined together, so they could all just and then they shortened the shooting schedule so that they wouldn't have people have to be totally removed from their real lives for that long. Really a brilliant way to still do the show. I really appreciate that they did it because we love Bake Off. So now, I'll have to tune into the American version. That sounds super fantastic.
Yeah, the format's really conducive for like bubble. The bubble format.
Right. Yeah, for sure. On Grant Tashi. I think about that every time I watch the show. So I'm gonna glaze with my brown again because I want this to dirty down. I want these nails to dirty down a bit. Oh, I thought this was the first time they'd done an American one. Have they done another one, Muses? Like, is this not the first season of the Great American Bake Off? Oh, you meant the holiday one. I see. The Great Christmas Light Fight sounds like something both like Trainwreck and horrifying and unlookawayable. We didn't have any really atrocious Christmas light people in my old neighborhood. There were a couple that got close. There was one person that did their entire yard in blue lights, and so you drove by their house and it was just this like glowing spot of blue. Interesting. Well, then maybe we can get past seasons of it if they've been doing the American one for a while. I had no idea. I never saw it pop up on our feed, which is funny because you'd think if you watch the British one that they would, say, hey, suggested show, right? Isn't that how it's supposed to work? So I'm going to kind of take some color here, guys, and I'm going to go out to the edge. Since these nails are rounded, they're probably a little bit grown in or grown together. So I'm going to actually put a lighter stripe across the end of the nail here. Since they don't come together like the tip of the nails out here, instead I'll be doing kind of just a lighter highlight across the front of the entire nail down here to kind of bring this stuff together. Give them a kind of a toenail of sorts. You're doing good. But yeah, I would be excited to watch that American holiday one then. I came to the conclusion that I do not know enough different things to bake to ever compete on the British baking show. Like, I would have to learn how to make things like, madeleines and, what's that other one that I always do? Dang it. All the different types of dough and all the different things. And I've done so relatively little in baking. Like, I love baking, but because of the gluten-freeness, there's so many things that I just don't bake. Though it would be tempting to go on and bake nothing but gluten-free. Gluten-free low carb. That would be my claim to fame. I will do your baking show, and I will do it all gluten-free and low carb. But it wouldn't have the right texture, so I probably wouldn't do well. Although you can get close. But I don't know. I don't know if the judges would go for it. Sign you up. Gluten-free low carb. Oh, bad stuff. I'm very sorry about surgeries, Planner. I've been in that boat, and it is not fun. I once had one on New Year's Eve. A surgery on New Year's Eve, because they were trying so hard to fit me in before the end of the year, and that was the only day my surgeon had open. So on New Year's Eve, I was in the hospital. So, fingers crossed for you, big hugs, and I hope it all comes out okay. Yeah, yeah. It's just, being in it's bad enough to have surgeries, but to have surgery over the holidays, it's just like adds insult to injury. It's like I hope I got some awesome good karma from that. It all balances out. We hope. So I always, whenever crappy things happen, I'm just like, okay, but this means that something good is going to happen too. So I keep telling myself that. For the most part, it's true. All right, trying to do this nail now. And these guys getting our little... Since I've decided to highlight the tip, first thing I'll do is kind of do a crescent with the brown, and then I'll put the lines in. It's a fairly high chance for a cute emergency today. We'll see how it goes. Charity celebrity episodes. Yeah, I don't... It sucks if you can only find them on YouTube. I hope we can find them on Hulu or Netflix. Your intestines work. Hey, that's a bonus. I've been there too. Alrighty. My doggo is she's, I don't know, she's okay, but she's still having like poop issues. I just think that it's probably not going to get better because she's so old, but I'm still hoping. We're still messing with I'm tweaking the food. I'm trying to, because the easiest way to adjust that sort of thing is with diet. So just trying to get her back to the kind of stable place she was a while ago. But since she had the infection in her bowel, that just takes a while to recover from after they hit it with a bunch of antibiotics. So I feel bad for the poor girl. Yeah, she's happy like during the day. She gets distressed at night if she has to go because she knows she's not supposed to go out or go at night. And when she wakes herself up and she kind of panics. Old dog. Twitch is being twitchy. Well, we're just painting toenails, so it's okay. Alright, so we got some linear toenails and some linear toenails. My linear toenails on this side are too bright and need to be dirtier, I think. Although first I'm going to bring in the highlights a little bit more, and then I'm going to dirty them up. Because if you're going to glaze something, and you don't want to lose some of your highlights, just bring your highlights up a little stronger than you wanted originally, and then put the darker glaze over them. I don't want to... That's actually... It's poop instead, plainer. It's intestines. Her intestines are compromised. We use a blanket right now. We have a big blanket stretched out so that if she does have an accident, it's very easy to clean up. And we just try not to stress about her. But I try not to, like, on the off chance that we can get her back to normal, I don't want to encourage the behavior. Because I feel like we can get her close. Like, she has some nights where she's fine. So... I don't want to necessarily train her to go indoors. It may get to that, but it may not. But I'm not like right now. That's not part of the plan. She only has it like it's like she'll resolve. It's not like she has it for hours. She just panics when she wakes up and has to go really bad, and she knows she's not supposed to, and she knows that, that we're all asleep, and she wakes me up, usually. And then I clean up. But, it is what it is. I never yell at her for it, so, that already helps. It's just like she's always going to wake up. If she wakes up like having to go right away, she's always going to have that moment of panic, whether she's trained to go indoors or not. Yogurt is, but it doesn't necessarily help. Yogurt pink, or dragon pink, yogurt pink. You can tell I'm sleepy. Like I've given her yogurt before, but the probiotics are so There's so few probiotics in yogurt that you'd have to eat gallons of it for it to really have an effect. And having used doggy probiotics, I really don't think any of them have a clue. Like, okay, probiotics for humans get like zillions of dollars pumped into their industry, and they don't even necessarily have a clue except for some medical grade ones about what works or what doesn't. So I don't expect dog probiotics to really have a chance. Yeah, just not recommend with bowel issues, exactly. Because dairy, right? It's I gave her some sheep's milk yogurt, but she gets it for a treat every once in a while. But right now I'm just trying to, with Kiri, it really is a matter of dial in the amount of food you're feeding and dial in the type of food you're feeding until you get like right at that level, and don't change it. That's her. She's just really vulnerable to changing up her diet. So right now, just trying to get her back to normal, or whatever the new normal is. So we have nails, yay! So like, I think that my pattern's a little bit too bold over here, so I'm gonna glaze a little bit with my brown. Then we'll do the fingernails on the other hand. If you feel like the pattern is too much, putting some brown over it to hide the darker stripes gives you that nice dirty nail look. No, I know. I'm trying not to mess with anything too crazy. I've been giving her, like Honest Kitchen as a topper. So human grade food. And just the kibble that she has been doing well on since we moved here. I'm really not, because she's so vulnerable to changing things up, I'm not into experimenting with her diet that much. If I'm going to go more, like she gets the Stella and Chewy's freeze-dried raw, but I reconstituted and heated up a little bit for her in the morning. That's just a topper as well. Yeah, I mean, I've had dogs for ages, so it's for me, it's just like, you learn what your dog has going on, and you just deal with it. Yeah, I just don't, she's got a really sensitive gut. I just don't want to try anything weird. Because she was stable for months after we moved here. Like, she'd have her days, but this last crash was a bad one. Yeah, actually, I'm using, like, dehydrated white rice, like baby rice cereal, Roger. That's usually, when they tell you the rice and boiled chicken diet to be easy on their digestion, that's kind of, I got her some baby rice cereal. I don't like to give her a lot, but because it has vitamins and stuff added to it, but a little bit in her food in the morning. I mean, we do all the stuff. I've had, and then at one time I was breeding dogs, so I'm pretty, I think my canine knowledge base is pretty high. I don't know if it's as high as my mini painting base, but it's pretty high. There we go. Just need to put that in there. I got some indigo on his nose. Gotta get it off. Blorfed. I blorfed, but it's okay because, you just put a bunch of water over it and you can polish it right off. Oh, the boiled chicken or turkey and white rice. Yeah. Kiri doesn't do great on it. Like, I do it. I still include the rice a bit. And if you really think about it, the freeze-dried raw that I'm constituting with hot water, is close to just boiled meat. But that's not the entirety of what she gets. Like, she does much better on a kibble diet. I thought about taking her raw, but there's really no good raw suppliers out here. I've never done raw with her. And it's just so much extra work and expense. I don't know that I can afford it, honestly, on a starving artist diet. So if I had tiny dogs, then the raw diet would be tempting because it wouldn't cost nearly as much, but oh yeah, pancreatitis, yep. Yeah, my old dog Leo had that. Chronic pancreatitis. Neutering actually solved it for him, but for many dogs it doesn't. Oh, I do cauliflower rice all the time, plainer. That's my favorite. That's for low carb. I haven't tried the broccoli rice, but cauliflower rice I really like. I think it's a very good substitute. Yeah, he's a rock troll, so he's a mutant a bit, I think, is what people were saying. Because it looked to me like there were four toes over there, but there might be like kind of a fourth toe kind of growing out here, but I didn't see a nail on it, so that'd be the problem with that. Yeah, he's a troll. We don't expect like standard numbers of limbs and digits, cause troll. Oh yeah, broccoli and omelets is pretty good. Oh yeah, I didn't want to waste it. Yeah. I expect as long as you cook it pretty firmly. All right, so now we got claws on this hand. It would be good. I don't remember. I've used broccoli slaw for making slaw for our fish tacos, and that worked okay. But I like the flavor of fried cauliflower better than fried broccoli, so as far as heating it up. If I want something neutral for an Asian dish, I usually go with cauliflower. Yeah. Speaking of fooding, I made real ramen in the Instant Pot for the first time. It was the first thing I've done in the Instant Pot that wasn't just making bone broth, which is kind of the reason I got the Instant Pot, because it was a replacement for my slow cooker that died. And hey, that was really good ramen. I even did the caramel eggs for it, the ramen eggs. David was seriously impressed because I got his perfectly cooked. I don't like them jammy on the inside, but he does. All right, so going back to our nails here, kind of finding our flaws in the nails and accentuating them instead of decentuating them. Or de-emphasizing. So kind of like going that way with this one. Wants proper ramen now. It's went here, ate this, I think is the blog, with the 8 being the number 8. I looked up Instant Pot ramen. It was one of the top rated recipes. It has a lot of complex flavors in it. I was really astonished because it had like sake and mirin and fish sauce and soy sauce, and just a bunch of interesting flavor components. And then when I first tasted, and then I added a little bit of hoisin sauce because I love his hoisin, and we were doing hoisin caramelized pork for the meat. So it was just lovely. It was really good. Now I'm tempted to do more things in the Instant Pot. I don't think I would ever saute meat in it. So I saute my meat in a different pan that I like to use better, and then I deglaze it and pour it all in the pot. But as far as like cooking like cuts of meat, because we used pork shoulder, which is, a tougher cut of meat, and normally you have to cook it for a while. And it did in like 45 minutes in the Instant Pot because pressure cooker. And then we just shredded it and put it in the oven with glaze on it. So that was pretty good. I could see myself using it more in the future. I was dubious about it when I first bought it. Cannot do soy sauce. Even the gluten-free planer. Bye, Inara. Have fun. I can eat soy sauce if it's gluten-free because I don't have a soy allergy. You might be able to get close to the same umami profile if you used tamarind paste with fish sauce. And that would be, I think, a no soy variant. Tamarind paste is underestimated as one of the great potential condiments for those who can't have a lot of stuff. Like, if you can't have tomatoes, for example. Like me. Tomatoes are toxic. Yeah, liquid aminos or cocoa aminos. Yep, I've got those too. Yeah, you could totally use the liquid aminos. That's a good idea. I mean, I've got a whole bottle of this stuff, and I didn't even think about it, because I've only used it to make a barbecue sauce. Yeah, Grepthar. Oh, you're allergic to soy, yeah. Yeah, you probably could get really close with the coconut, with the liquid aminos. Use fresh tamarind? Yeah, too much of a pain in the butt for me, so I use the paste. Lazy cooking in. Yeah, I mean, there should be a Reaper cooking show, right? Like, everybody likes to talk about food. But yeah, I mean, I just always assume, I just look up regular recipes and then just substitute. I mean, at this point, I've been on my particular diet for so long that I know all the weird substitutions that I need to make something work for me. So I don't even look up other people's, like, gluten-free or whatever variants. I just look up the regular recipe and figure out what I need to sub. I actually find I get better results that way in most cases. Although, there was one exception. I think it was the low-carb green bean casserole, which gave the recipe for making my own cream of onion soup for it, which is an amazing soup. Or cream of mushroom, yeah, that's right. It has onions and shallots in it too. All right, so we got our nails kind of outlined but not highlighted yet. Oh, so yeah. The Reaper cookbook next year needs to be a thing. Yeah, it would make a great soy sauce replacement. I know when I tasted it, because I'd never had cocoa aminos before, plain or spoons, but when I got some for this barbecue sauce recipe, and I tasted it, and I was like, oh, I need to use this in things, because it actually is a pretty awesome flavor profile. Yeah, sorry for all the food talk, guys. Ooh, I should wait then. If you all are hold on, I have a picture of my ramen. Hold on, I'm gonna share a food pic. Oh no. Okay, are we ready? That was my dish of ramen. Wasn't it tasty looking? Doesn't it make you want tasty ramen? I used the zero carb noodles, the ones that are made from the root. Yeah, it was really good ramen. And David had the proper eggs for it. I hard boiled mine because I don't like eggs with soft centers, but I managed to soft boil his, and they came out perfect. And we marinated them. And I still have the marinade, so I can do a second batch of caramel eggs, which makes me happy because they're so good. And I'm a sucker for hard boiled eggs. I should do a batch and just have them with my salads for lunch. All right, so we're highlighting our little bits here. Yeah, it was really good ramen, guys. And although it did, like, it took prep, but then in the middle of it, like, it took probably 2 hours total to put together. But in the middle of that, there was an hour and 15 minutes of just, I didn't have to watch it because it was all being done in the Instant Pot. So now that I know the prep involved, I think I could pare the time down a bit by pre-prepping some stuff and make it a lot easier and faster to throw together next time. All right, so there's my nail. Hey there. Hey, CNOT. How's it going? I was just showing people the awesome ramen I made the other night because I saved a picture of it. When food is that pretty, you just have to save it. We were talking a lot about food. Apparently, this falls right around people's lunch or right before dinner time for some people. So what's up, CNOT? Like, what are you working on lately? I'm working on Rock Troll today. He's awesome and has purple gems. You just ate, so you're all good. I'm not gonna make you hungry. Yeah, it would be cool. It would be cool to do a Reaper recipe book. Thanks. All right, so I'm doing his claws today, see now. So I'm trying to make them look like kind of like ragged and like they're growing out kind of like stalactites. And making them nice and dirty. Probably need to dirty down the guys on his feet here. Still getting a pretty strong striation pattern there, and I want to minimize that just a little bit. I want to dull it down with some brown. Yeah, and then I can just take my off-white kind of ivory color and kind of hit the tip to highlight it back up a little. Sweet. Anne's ProTips cookbook. I have to say, like, I started cooking a lot more for myself when I went on low carb, and then it's just I think I've gotten better at it. And now that I'm with David, I've got an incentive to cook for us. I feel like there are some things we don't order in restaurants anymore because we know we can make it better at home. So you're getting better, right? So Monday, the week is off to a great start. That's awesome. My week is off to a somewhat sleepy start, but that's the worst I can say of it. My little dog getting me up at night, but that's fine. I'll manage to get through. I'll catch a power nap this afternoon. It'll all be good. Alrighty. So there we go. There, I like that. That's a little bit more minimized on those claws. David's the one with the dry rubs recipes now, Planer. Like he's starting to like put it together. Like he's really good at having something at a restaurant and then saying, this reminds me of, this, or I want something like this chef did at this restaurant, and then kind of reverse engineering it by looking up their other recipes and figuring it out. There was one, I think it's his fajita rub, that he wanted to do one like a chef that he had gone to the restaurant in Seattle, and so he looked up that chef and just kind of reverse engineered it from a bunch of stuff they'd published online and that other people had published about their recipes online. So David's pretty swank. Hybrid cooking and painting book. While you wait, pick up your brush and get these colors. Star Wars geek. Great idea. Cooking and painting. We could choose a monster mini or a character mini for each recipe. The iconic character of Anne's ramen. What would be the iconic character of my ramen? That's a hard call. Like, the iconic character of my green bean casserole would definitely be, like, a mushroom man, because, it's the cream of mushroom soup. We'd have to figure it out. Not many Reaper monsters are based on foods, which is probably a good thing. Alrighty, so we got some nice dirty-looking claws with some texture on it, so now we're going to bring in our creamy ivory mixture and kind of hit the tips, bring the tip of the claw up a little bit more to accentuate its sharpness where it would punch into people. Yeah, the shambling mound for a good salad, right? Oh dear. Actually, ramen, the way that ramen looks, a ramen shambling mound would be a cool monster, guys. Like, you could put the eggs on as eyes. And you could have cilantro and green onions and noodles for a noodly body. This needs to be a monster. Could probably take a regular shambling mound figure and just sculpt on some of the extra textures and make it a ramen shambling mound. That would be awesome. But yeah, with ramen, you could totally do something with tentacles too. That's a good point, Planer, because, with the noodles, you'd have to make noodle tentacles. All right, got some sharper details on the claws here. The souping mound. Ramen golem. Oh, I knew somebody had to have done it, Clearman. I knew it had to be out there. There's so many good 3D sculptors out there now. There's gotta be people doing these crazy things. Once you mention it on the internet, it exists somewhere. I just think it would be fun to take a shambling mound figure and make it into a ramen mound. Like, now, guys, now you've given me an idea for my my Twitch game. Obviously, the characters are going to have to reclaim the old Culinary Arts Academy in the ruined city they're in, which of course has been invaded and now staffed by all sorts of food-related monsters. Right? Right? Food mimics of various types, and like shambling ramen and salad mounds. What's the one with the, you could have a cloaker omelet. A giant cloaker omelet. Yes, totally needs to be a story. Like, wouldn't it be fun? Like, you know, it used to be like the chef's academy of the city, and now it's, you know, it fell into ruins with everything else, but now there are food aligned monsters, maybe remnants of the chef's magic, that kind of went a little crazy after the place closed down or was lost in some sort of catastrophe. That would be super fun. Super fun. Meatballs in the basement. Yes, sentient meatballs in the basement. A living bread starter is not that far off from what could be the truth. Let's face it. Capsule Chibi Patreon, huh? Anyway, that would be super fun. I'll put that away in the back of my head for maybe a fun shot adventure. Just like a real short something. That kind of thing is just amusing. All right. Gotta get the back of this nail. As I mentioned, I'm not going to put too many highlights on the backs of the nails because they are, for the most part, turned inward into shadow. They wouldn't get a whole lot. They just get just enough so that it's obvious that you put some work into them. So they aren't just blobs. Can be also harder to paint the, like ones like this, which are kind of going to hit a little bit of light. Just the tips. Just enough. Just a little bit. But you don't have to be as elaborate as you are on the outsides of them. Just need to pick up a little bit of highlight. All right. Excellent. Yay, claws and toenails. Super. Egg roll fighters. Egg foo fighters. The living bread starter almost TPK'd you. Alrighty, so we've got our nails on and our claws. What should we do for the rest of the stream? I think I want to get these crystals kind of blocked in because I have my black indigo, so I just need to get out my eldritch purple and white. Let's do that. Let's block in those crystals and get them at least purple. Everybody was egg foo fighting. Oh no. Well, there are worse songs to have stuck in your head. And pure white. Hey, I'm managing to keep my area relatively orderly here, guys. It's kind of crazy. Like, I still have some clean off to do on my desk. I can see where I can put things away. But my area is slowly getting more organized. Get back into writing, Phil. Yep. There's always a market. Well, and it's fun. Ah, my white. Oh no, my white is getting close to dead. I go through pure white, you guys. Crazy amounts of pure white. There we go. Reaper Punchy tool to the rescue. 15 minutes. I think we can block in these crystals in 15 minutes. Alrighty. All right, let's get down to these knee crystals. Now, they are turned away from the light. They are in shadows, so we are not going to be taking them like quite as bright as, say, the guys up on the top of his head. Just like these guys on the sides. Well, they get a fair amount of light, too, because the arm is kind of sticking out. But these guys, there's just a few that will get some light. Like, you can see these guys will probably get more than these guys down here. So, we'll see. Let's do... I'm going to mix some Eldritch Purple with some white. And kind of get some purple in here. Kind of touch all these little guys. And I'm just going to kind of blobbing this on right now. I've got already kind of a dark background to this. I'm not worrying about hitting the individual crystals. I'm just painting the whole thing, kind of a blanket effect more so. I am picking out like hitting the little lumps, but I'm not like getting really detailed. Mostly I just want to block in what's purple at this point. And this is Eldritch Purple with I just picked up a little bit of white on my brush too, and it doesn't really matter the color here as far as the ratio of white to purple, although you do want a lot more purple if you want it to be more vibrant. You don't want to go too white with it, or you'll end up lavender. Unless that's your thing. If you want lavender crystals, you're good. And then when we get down into this like way under area, that's when we get our black indigo. Let me get some water into my black indigo here and make sure I've got it reconstituted to the level I need. I need the black indigo to be around a 2:1 to 1:1. I want it to be actually pretty thin, because just like we did here, I'm mostly using it to kind of go around the crystals and leaving the purple on the top just to set up everything. So you can see how much darker those purple crystals are, more blue, whereas compared to here down here, they're pretty red. That's because we haven't gone over that with black indigo. And so we don't want it to be a wash, but maybe like a heavy wash consistency. Oh, go ahead and write it. You know you want to, Planer. You know everybody wants you to. More to the point. It's worse because the Port Abandon that we have, our city for our campaign on Tuesdays and Thursdays, is actually an orcish city that does have a faint oriental flair to it. Like, we've already established that egg rolls are a thing. So we totally could go in the ramen egg roll direction with the old Orcish Academy of Cooking. Don't make me do this. Though now that we've put it out on the stream, you know, now it's not. It's like, it'd be cooler to spring it on you guys. All right, let's see here. It's the kind of idea that's fun to spring on people. When you've discussed the heck out of it in advance, it's not nearly as much fun. All right, gonna grab some of this black indigo and concentrate on painting like the under areas, like smaller crystals that aren't gonna catch a lot of the light. This crystal way down here, this group of crystals is really away from the light, so I want it to be dark. If I decide that I'm losing too much of my purple, I'll actually grab some more of it and bring it back in. Just kind of wet blend it while it's there. And that'll turn out more of a bluish crystal because it's got that indigo on there. Going keto carnivore there, Twisted Oma. You want the egg because you want the fat. I have a friend who does carnivore. It's not my diet, but she does very well on it because she has arthritis, autoimmune reactions to a lot of foods. And carnivore seems to work for her. Keto and carnivore together. "24 hours in is about where I start to get the hangries. I get them for about a day and then it goes away and I'm good. Definitely on low carb for the holidays, but not on keto for the holidays. Not working." Making up orc cooks. My orcs aren't like other orcs necessarily though, because remember it's a lot like it's kind of like Tolkien, where the orcs in this world are related, very closely related to elves. So they're actually, like, you don't get the slope-shouldered monstrosity brutish orcs. You actually get much more, you know, lithe and strong and dangerous orcs. More like the Uruk-hai. I really wanted to go different with orcs in this world. Make them a very strong ancient culture. Not go down the usual road of fantasy. I'm sure other people have done it as well, but I've never run a game of that sort, so this will be good for... It's a good world. So far, I like it. You could find a Kenku you could paint like a toucan. Like, you could take a Tengu model and make the beak heavier in the right shape, and you could totally do a toucan. That's not a hard conversion. Alright, so let's just kind of get a little bit of highlight here. I just want to try out a couple highlights. Yeah, I think that'll work. No carbs, no sugar, no peas, beans, or anything that could morph into sugars when digested. Oh, yeah. Like... Yeah, I don't eat any of that stuff as well when I'm on the keto. Oh, actually, I lie. They do allow berries on keto, so... But those are mostly... have very few carbs. Interesting. Well, yeah, let us know how that diet works for you. Carnivore is pretty much pure meat. Everything you get, you're getting from meats. But then you also, if you want to make sure you get all your vitamins, either take supplements or make sure you're getting some organ meats in there, like liver for vitamin A. Not a ton of it. I like liver worst, so for me that would not be a problem. But I don't know. I really like vegetables, so, and big salads, so carnivore could never do it for me. But yeah, if it's doctor order, then yeah, I hope it works for you. All right. I forgot to put on that was my Discord blurbling everybody, so don't worry. But thank you, Zelnea, for the exact name of the Great American Baking Show. I will totally tell David, and we must go rush and watch it. Plus, I love holiday baking. It's just a win-win. Liver is evil? My dad loved liver and onions, and I wouldn't touch it when I was a kid, but my grandpa loved liver sausage, liver pate, and he got me hooked on it when I was little before I knew what it was, so I'm okay with liver. At least when it's in a pate, I'm okay with it, and I really like it. I've tried it as a liver and onions kind of pan-fried thing, and it's not for me, but... But I have made my own duck liver pate, so my own foie gras. So probably too light. Shudders and crawls into a corner. Late to the party. Yeah, it's alright. All we've been talking about is food, Val. Food and toenails and trying not to interrupt the stream. Yeah, my fault, Muses. It wasn't your fault. I forgot to put on streamer mode. It's something that, like, I sometimes don't remember. So, okay. So what we're doing here, guys, is we want these gemstones to stand out a bit. But we don't want them to be as bright as up here because there's no light falling under this knee. Except maybe, like, right here and here. There are a couple gems, and over here on the side, these guys probably are going to be picking up more light. But some of these, as you can see, I've kept them pretty dull. And they're a little lighter on this side. So that's what we're doing. Yeah, in general, Dragon Pink, I agree with you. No, it's cool that you went to Discord Muses. It's all good. It's my fault that I didn't put on streamer mode. Like I said, I usually forget because I don't get a lot of messages on Discord, but it's all good. We do not hold the burble against you. Or at least I don't hold the burble against you. Random burbles are all right. Just incessant burbling is not all right. If there was incessant burbling, then I would have to take measures. All right. So the side there, that, if I look down at it, I can see that there would be light falling like here. Maybe that one's a little bit of a stretch. Now for these little guys, you're really just generalizing. Gizzards. Plainer good. I sent my first book out to an agent on December 1st, like I said I was gonna. And for this first couple agents, it's just gonna be one agent at a time because they're pretty high ranking agents, and I care about them, and I'm not in a hurry. But then after that, we'll start sending out like 4 at a time once I get rejections back from the really important people. I have like 3 really important people that I want to submit to, like agents that I personally have met, that are high ranking, or that I've been kind of stalking for decades because they, publish stuff that is just like the stuff I write. So we'll see how it goes. I will get rejections, Val. Everybody gets rejections. J.K. Rowling got rejections. Ray Bradbury got rejections. Really awesome writers get rejections. Because you may have awesome writing, but maybe the agent you submit to has a full plate already, or isn't looking for anything new, or it's just something about your book just isn't awesome, or, just isn't their cup of tea. There's always that chance, so... I expect to get many rejections. If I don't get rejected by somebody, then it's a pleasant surprise. But I don't want to get depressed you get depressed when you get rejections no matter what. But I find that if I prepare myself in advance for them, then it's just oh, all right, next. Yes, I always have a cup half full. There's no point in having a cup half empty. Like, I prefer to live my life with my cup half full. So far, it's worked out for me. Which just makes me more inclined to do it. So, reinforcing my optimistic behavior. Alright, so that's not bad. Because these couple gems up here would get a little bit of light. Because they're past the knee here. They're on the side of the knee. And then we get a shadow underneath here, where those dark gems are. And then as you come back over to the side of the leg here, you're going to get more light. So you're not trying to be super persnickety about it, but you're trying to make it seem like it makes sense where your light is. Chia, I wasn't necessarily going for any human-ish pattern for these. I just decided I wanted to do the hands and feet a different color, just like Siamese cats have paws that are different color from their body. I just decided I wanted it. I wanted the color variation. I didn't want him to be all green. And since since he has a slightly different texture on the hands, the feet don't have any stones on them. I guess the hands do. But I just decided to go there. Artistic license. Nothing, it's a monster. Nothing tells me I have to stick to an accepted biological pigment functionality. So... in my case, I did it because I wanted this orange color to show up across the model. So I didn't want just the face to be orange. I wanted to repeat that orange color across the model because I thought it looked much more interesting and fun. So, yeah, I just decided to do it that way. Because if I only had orange up here and didn't have it down here, everything would be green and it'd be a lot more boring. But bringing in that orange tone, really has brought the hands and feet kind of out more and put more emphasis on them. And then it's not just the one color across everything with just the purple. So I don't know. I really like it. This is an orange, green, purple color combination, which is all the secondary colors. So yeah, just artistic choice. Remember, you don't have to, you can use a photo reference or whatever for color patterns all you want, but when it comes down to it, it's a mythical creature. You can paint it however the heck you want. Heck, even if it's not a mythical creature, you can paint it however the heck you want. It's your mini. my mini wanted orange feet. So he got him. Hey, science fantasy is a plenty good genre. All right, we're going to block in some of the purple over here on these crystals. And I'm going to look at the time. Oh, it's 11. Yay. Today is my grocery day, so I do have to be more or less on time today. Can't go late. So I will continue to block in these purple crystals and ask John or Justin or whoever wants to pop in, who is out there to raid today, guys?
Justin, do you want me to look, or are you going? You got it.
Justin is asleep.
I can find one.
Okay, that's cool, John.
I already have a few I've been looking at already.
Oh, yeah. Okay. There we go, guys. So we'll just block in these gems right here. And then on next time we do Troll, which will be several days from now. And like I said, you can catch the schedule when John puts it up for every week. But when Troll pops back in next week, we'll continue probably with the purple crystals here and the crystals on the arm as well. So we'll move right along. And at some point I have to decide what color this stuff is on the waist. But he's getting there. Like, I have to clean up this arm. It's really kind of dicey, but otherwise, I think he's... Now that he's got his purple blocked in under his knees, I think his colors are really coming together. Really like him. We'll have to figure out basing.
I have a raid ready whenever you're ready.
Okay, who are we raiding?
This is going to be, his name is Schlo.
Okay.
And he's painting toys for Tots. He's doing Toys for Tots donations. So
super
I
fantastic.
figured it would be a cool one to kind of start the Monday off. So
yeah, that'd be awesome. Thank you so much for finding that raid for us, guys. Go over and say hi. Since this is a new person, I think we've never raided them before, right?
Yeah, it's new. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so introduce them to Reaper. Be friendly. Be awesome. And I will see you guys again tomorrow. All right. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Make sure you tune in today for Miniature Monday. Josh will be painting the attack penguins for Sophie Saves Christmas later on today at 3 p.m. Central. So go ahead and we'll see you then. Thanks.